If you want to be comfortable and recognized by church leadership today, put aside your spiritual maturity or orientation and give money and more money. In most churches, this rise up is headline the Ghanaian church crimes or corruption. In the Bible, it is stated in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 17 that judgment shall begin in the house of God. The house of God, church, is one place ignorant of good and evil should be less of an excuse, and so said verse is not surprising in my view. The church is a place where it is expected that light is shed on all evil deeds to enable followers of Jesus Christ to walk in the path of righteous living. I believe this spiritual cleansing task makes the church the first target of judgment. The mandate of the church is first and foremost spiritual renewal, growth, and enlightenment, followed by physical needs of believers. We also need to understand what the primary functions of the church are not. The church is not an entertainment center. The church is not a financial institution or a bank. Again, the church is not just any social club, as many think it is. If the church maintains focus on its mandate, it will endeavor to follow the guideline of Jesus Christ and not worldly intellectualism. Today, many church leaders admit that there is severe deviation in the Christian arena. There is too much monetization in the church in our days. It is now run more like a business with zero tolerance for losses. It is now more like a cluster of small empires with powerful rulers called pastors or founders. Like most profit-making ventures all over the world, the church does not really require spiritual guideline. The church does not really require spiritual guideline to achieve its goal. Fasting and prayer is not really needed. Preaching the word of God to the people is not very important. The most important thing is to put in place institutional structures that result in massive financial growth and consolidation of the leaders or founders' power or influence over the masses. Some of our churches have carried out this new institutional mission of wealth making to the point that they have become more wealthier, or they have become wealthier than many notable corporate bodies. Most of these businessmen of God, and I call them businessmen of God, love to put a show of their affluent lifestyle, just as a notorious drug lord in Mexico would do, in the form of private jets, the latest cars, lavish mansions, among others. In order to maintain the status quo, they are overly focused on numbers and not quality. They will say anything and do anything just to boast about the largest number of members filling magnificent church auditorium. Some few years ago, the church used to be the sanctuary for the downtrodden and vulnerable people in society. A lot has changed now due to change in objectives. The church today seems like one of the most expensive social clubs in our society. If you do not have enough money to throw around a big offertory bowl, your presence is not really needed. Some of the commonest excuses people give for missing Sunday services nowadays are, I'm not going to church today because I couldn't buy a new shirt or dress. Easiest of them all is, I'm not going today because I don't have enough money for donations or offertory. If you want to be comfortable and recognized by church leadership today, put aside your spiritual maturity or orientation and give money and more money. In most churches, one of the requirements to attaining membership is to show your tithe card and must be religiously ticked to confirm regular compliance. One does not need any spiritual insight or growth to join the high table of church elders or leadership. Rather, just prove that you have money or resources to offer. Due to the profiteering posture of churches, church leaders hardly preach against the rust that have engulfed our society today. The cancer of corruption, greed, plain thievery are normalized because perpetrators think they can wash off their criminal conscience by donating large sums to the church. Our churches are filled with thieves from the office or workplaces. Some corrupt and criminal political leaders and appointees sit pretty in mega churches with admiration because they have amassed so much for mega donations. In the final analysis, the larger the national territory of churches, the crazier the growth in our society gets. This is a sad reality, but I believe there is a great awakening to the dark and deceptive dealings of our so-called men of God. In Europe today, one vibrant church buildings are virtually empty and most are given out almost freely for nightclubs and other social activities. Similar faith could be for church leaders who are more interested in putting up huge church edifices to attract numbers for the building of family wealth and not the spiritual and physical warfare of followers.
Thank you.
Subscribe and follow us.